Welcome back to Share Science, the weekly science brief for May 11th, 2026. I'm Curie.
And I'm Derek. So, Curie, what's going on with this cruise ship virus that everyone's been talking about this week?
Yes, it's a public health issue that's been unfolding in real time. A Hantavirus outbreak on a cruise ship that has now claimed 3 lives and raised urgent questions about a virus most people have never thought about. We'll get into it.
That sounds really important, and it's just the tip of the iceberg for this week's lineup. We've also got a practical treasure trove for drug development in coral reefs, a constipation drug doing something no one expected, AI catching cancer earlier than doctors, and even a deep dive into our dreams. Let's get started.
Let's begin with the Hantavirus outbreak on the MV Hondius cruise ship. This story has been making headlines, and for good reason. It's a reminder of how interconnected our world is and how quickly a virus can travel.
Right. So the MV Hondius, a Dutch-flagged cruise ship, was sailing through the South Atlantic when the World Health Organization was alerted to a cluster of severe respiratory illnesses on board. By May 8th, 8 cases had been confirmed or suspected, and tragically, 3 people had died. The culprit? Andes virus, a specific strain of hantavirus.
Hantavirus is one of those names that immediately grabs attention, but it's worth breaking down what it actually is. These viruses are carried by rodents. Rats, mice, voles, and humans usually get infected by inhaling particles from their urine, feces, or saliva. The disease they cause, hantavirus pulmonary syndrome, is serious. It starts with flu-like symptoms, but can escalate rapidly to severe respiratory failure. The mortality rate is around 35%, which is shockingly high.
That's already unsettling, but the Andes virus has its own unique twist, doesn't it?
It does. Unlike most hantaviruses, which don't spread between humans, Andes virus is the exception. It can spread from person to person, but only through close and prolonged contact. Think household members or intimate partners. It's not airborne like COVID, so the risk of widespread transmission is much lower. The WHO has been very clear. This is a serious disease, but it's not the next global pandemic.
That's an important distinction. But how did the virus make its way onto a cruise ship in the first place?
Investigators believe the outbreak started with a Dutch couple who were infected before they even boarded the ship. The MV Hondius had departed from Ushuaia, Argentina on April 1st. Ushuaia is in Patagonia, a region where the Andes virus is known to circulate in wild rodents. The couple had gone bird watching near a landfill before boarding, and it's likely they were exposed to rodent droppings there. The subsequent cases on the ship are thought to be limited person-to-person spread during the voyage.
So this isn't a case of the virus spreading widely on the ship, but rather a very specific chain of events. What should listeners take away from this?
For most people, the risk is extremely low. But if you're planning to travel to rural areas in Argentina, Chile, or Patagonia, it's worth taking precautions. Avoid disturbing rodent habitats, don't handle dead rodents, and be cautious in buildings that might harbor rodents. And if you develop severe flu-like symptoms with respiratory issues after such travel, tell your doctor about your travel history. Early recognition can make a huge difference.
That's great advice. And for anyone who wants to stay updated, searching MV Hondius, Hantavirus, Andes virus 2026 should pull up the latest information.
Now, let's pivot to a story that's both surprising and hopeful. It's about a drug originally designed to treat constipation that's now showing promise in protecting failing kidneys. This one really caught my attention.
This is about lubiprostone, a drug that's been used for years to treat chronic constipation. Researchers at Tohoku University in Japan have found that it can significantly slow the decline of kidney function in people with moderate chronic kidney disease.
Chronic kidney disease is a massive global health issue, affecting around 800 million people. When the kidneys lose function, it can lead to dialysis, which is life-altering and incredibly demanding. Current treatments can only slow the damage. They don't actually preserve or improve kidney function. That's why this finding is so exciting.
But the connection between constipation and kidneys isn't immediately obvious. How does one affect the other?
It's all about the gut microbiome, the community of bacteria in our intestines. Constipation disrupts this microbiome, which can lead to the production of harmful waste compounds called uremic toxins. These toxins worsen kidney function. The lead researcher, Professor Takaki Abe, hypothesized that treating constipation could improve the gut environment and, in turn, protect the kidneys.
And the clinical trial supported this idea?
It did. In a trial involving 150 patients, those who received higher doses of lubiprostone showed significantly better kidney function over 24 weeks compared to those who received a placebo. The drug appears to reshape the gut microbiome, increasing levels of a compound called spermidine. Spermidine improves mitochondrial function in kidney cells, which helps them survive and function better.
So this is another example of the gut-kidney axis, the idea that the gut microbiome can influence kidney health.
Exactly. And because lubiprostone is already approved and has a well-established safety profile, if Phase 3 trials confirm these results, it could be fast-tracked for broader use.
Fascinating. If listeners want to learn more, searching lubiprostone Chronic Kidney Disease Gut Microbiome Trial 2026 will bring up the study.
Our third story takes us underwater to coral reefs, which are turning out to be treasure troves of microbial diversity and pharmacological potential.
Coral reef microbiomes aren't a new area of research, but this week's findings are groundbreaking. Scientists discovered that each coral species hosts its own unique microbial community, and these microbes produce compounds that could lead to entirely new medicines.
The scale of this discovery is staggering. These microbial communities have co-evolved with their host corals over millions of years, and they produce secondary metabolites, chemical compounds that serve functions like defense or competition. Many of our most important drugs, like penicillin and chemotherapy agents, originated as microbial metabolites. Coral microbes are generating novel versions of these compounds at an incredible rate.
And the diversity of coral species amplifies this potential. Each species represents a distinct microbial ecosystem with its own chemical library.
Which is why coral reef conservation is not just an ecological issue, but a medical one. Every coral species lost to climate change or human activity could mean the loss of a unique microbial community and its potential to save lives.
A compelling argument for protecting these ecosystems. Listeners can search Coral Reef Microbiome Medicine Compounds 2026 to dive deeper into this research.
Story 4 brings us back to the cutting edge of technology. Researchers have developed an AI tool that can detect early signs of pancreatic cancer in CT scans that radiologists had already cleared as normal.
Pancreatic cancer is one of the deadliest cancers, with a 5-year survival rate of just 12%. Early detection is crucial, but the pancreas is deep in the abdomen, and early tumors don't produce symptoms. By the time most cases are diagnosed, it's often too late for curative surgery.
This AI tool changes the game. It analyzed CT scans that radiologists had reviewed and flagged subtle features, like changes in tissue density or ductal irregularities, that were consistent with early pancreatic cancer. Follow-up confirmed that some of these flagged cases did develop cancer later.
The AI's ability to spot these early signals is remarkable. It's a level of pattern recognition that the human eye just can't match.
And while it's not ready for general population screening yet, it could be life-saving for high-risk groups. Search AI Pancreatic Cancer CT Scan Detection 2026 to follow this groundbreaking research.
Our final story is about dreams and the surprising science behind why we dream what we dream.
Researchers analyzed over 3,700 dream reports and found that dreams are far from random. They're structured reflections of your personality, habits, and life events.
For example, people who tend to daydream or mind wander during the day have more fragmented, shifting dreams. Those who value their dreams tend to have richer, more vivid ones. And external events, like the COVID-19 lockdown, leave measurable imprints on collective dream content.
This research opens up new possibilities for understanding consciousness, memory, and even conditions like PTSD. Search Dreams Personality Structured IMT, Luca Communications Psychology 2026 to learn more.
That's it for this week. From a rare hantavirus outbreak to the mysteries of your dreams, we've covered a lot of ground.
And it's a reminder of how much there is to learn about our world and ourselves. Until next time, stay curious.